They skipped my son's birthday. Again. Days later, my sister messaged, "Can you send $820 toward Dad's retirement gift?" I sent 1 cent with a note, "This is my gift." Then I blocked them all and closed the account. A day later, Mom tried to access the funds. It was gone. Just like me. I was done. Done with their excuses, their selective memory, their ability to show up for each other, and never for me. I don't know why I held out hope this year. I guess because it was Mason's 7th and 7 feels like a line in the sand. After 7 you start remembering things differently. You stop asking why didn't they come? And start assuming you're not important enough. And I wasn't going to let them do that to him again. So I planned everything. Balloons, cake, backyard games, a rented bouncy slide. The kind I knew my family would call too much, even though they've thrown baby showers with actual champagne fountains. Mason made the invitations by hand. He was so proud. He picked out stickers for each person. Grandpa got race cars. Grandma got cats. I sent them out with a note. "He really hopes you can come this year." So do I. They saw it. I watched them open the texts in the family group chat. I saw Lily like a meme someone else sent right after it. I watched the 3 dots bubble up under Mom's name, then disappear. No reply. The day came. Balloons. The sun was out. So were the neighbors who showed up with wrapped toys and homemade brownies, smiling like they hadn't noticed we were the only ones missing half a family. Mason kept asking when Grandpa was going to arrive. He even pulled an extra chair to the table for Lily. I told him maybe they got stuck in traffic. He nodded like that made sense, but I knew he was checking the gate every 10 minutes. They never showed. That night, after I finally got him to sleep, after he asked if maybe they just forgot again, I sat in the dark holding my phone, fighting the urge to type something cruel. But I didn't need to wait long. 4 days later, Lily messaged. No apology. No mention of Mason. No explanation. Just this. "Hey, can you send $820 for Dad's retirement gift? We're getting him a custom grill. Everyone's pitching in. It's a surprise." I laughed. Out loud. A loud, ugly laugh I hadn't let out in months. I hadn't even gotten a happy birthday text for my son. But sure. Let's spend nearly $1,000 on a grill for a man who's never come to a single school event, who once told me he didn't believe in birthdays after age 10, who still refers to my house as out there, like we live on a different planet, not 30 minutes away. I thought about everything I'd paid for in the last few years. My parents' AC when it went out midsummer. Lily's emergency vet bill for a cat she swore she'd pay me back for. The time I loaned our mom almost $2,000 to catch up on property taxes. She cried about how she'd never forget it. He forgot it. So I sent 1 cent. The note, "This is my gift." Then I blocked them all. Group chat, Venmo, even Lily's second number she uses when she's avoiding her ex. Then I deleted the shared account we used for family expenses. The next morning I got a fraud alert. My mom had tried to log into it. She couldn't. Everything was gone. He texted my husband. Called my work phone. Left voicemails pretending not to know what happened. But she knew. They all did. And for once they were the ones left out in the cold. Cutting them off wasn't quiet. I thought it would be. I pictured silence. Maybe a stretch of weeks with no messages, no guilt trips, no random cash requests or sudden emergencies. I imagined it like turning down the volume on a radio I never wanted to hear again. Instead they turned up the noise. Lily went online immediately. She posted an old picture of us dressed up for Easter in 2004, captioned it, "Some people forget where they came from." Mom liked it, then shared it, then commented something like, "She'll come around. He always does. She's just emotional." It was always that. Just emotional. Whenever I said no or set a boundary or tried to speak up about being treated like the family's personal ATM, suddenly I was hormonal or too sensitive or doing too much again. And then Drew showed up. He didn't call. Didn't text. Just showed up. Saturday morning, 9:12 a.m., my husband opened the door in basketball shorts and socks and froze. He turned to me and said, "It's your brother," like I was supposed to prepare for impact. I walked to the door half expecting to find some guilt package from my mom or maybe even Lily trying to do one of her fake reconciliation acts. But no, it was Drew. Standing there in a plain gray hoodie, holding a coffee like he just got back from a drive and didn't quite know how to start the conversation. He said one word. "Hey." I stepped out. Closed the door behind me. Sat on the porch. We didn't hug. Didn't even smile. He stood there for a second, then sat beside me and handed me the coffee. Just black, no sugar. I hated it, but I took it anyway. He didn't start with small talk. "I heard what happened," he said. "The 1 cent. The account. Everything." I looked at him, waiting for the judgment. But it didn't come. "It was brilliant," he added. "Ballsy. Honestly overdue." I blinked. Drew had always been neutral, distant. Growing up, he played peacemaker, got quiet when things got messy, moved across the country as soon as he could, and only came back for weddings or emergencies. He was smart like that. I told him they'd skipped Mason's birthday again, that he asked about them all day, that he made them cards they never opened, that I couldn't keep letting them hurt him and call it family. Drew didn't interrupt. He just listened. Really listened. Then he shook his head and said something I didn't expect. They've always treated you like the backup generator, only useful when everything else fails. I laughed, but it wasn't funny. It was accurate. He said he knew it wasn't just this year, that he'd watched it for a while, how they leaned on me, dumped things on me, expected me to show up for them but never showed up for me. I didn't say anything before, he admitted. Didn't want to get involved. But it's past that now. You didn't overreact, Abby. You finally reacted. He said Mom called him in a panic after she couldn't get into the account. Said she sounded more frantic about the money than the fact that I wasn't speaking to her. That tracked. Then Drew asked something I never thought I'd hear from him. You want to take a step back for real this time? No half measures? I'll handle them if they come after you again. It wasn't a threat. It was more like a line in the sand. He was offering to be the buffer, to make them face someone who wasn't so easy to dismiss. I didn't say yes, not right away. I told him I didn't trust anyone in our family anymore. He nodded. Said, that's fair. But I'm not them. Mason came out later, saw Drew, and lit up like it was Christmas. He ran to him like he'd been waiting for that moment his whole life. Drew picked him up without hesitation. They stayed in the backyard for almost an hour. I watched through the kitchen window while making lunch, and for a second I felt something I hadn't in months: relief. That night, after everyone was asleep, I thought about everything Drew said. It didn't erase anything. It didn't fix the years I spent being the default support system for a group of people who barely saw me as a person. But it cracked something open. He saw it. He finally saw it. And maybe, just maybe, that meant the rest of them were about to see what it looked like when the one they depended on stopped picking up the pieces. They didn't take it well. Cutting them off publicly was one thing. Doing it with Drew still talking to me, siding with me, that was something else entirely. It shifted the balance. Suddenly, it wasn't just Abigail being dramatic again. It was Abigail and Drew, which meant they had to take it seriously. First came the messages. Not from Lily, not directly, but through people. My cousin Elise messaged me some vague nonsense about family being forever, and how it's never too late to come back home. As if I'd wandered off. As if I was the one who'd forgotten where I came from. Mom tried again. This time through email. She wrote, I hope you're thinking things through. We're all struggling with the silence. Mason doesn't deserve to be without his grandparents. No apology. No mention of the birthday they skipped. No acknowledgement of the fact that they caused the silence. Just the usual reframing. The implication that my boundaries were cruelty, that protecting my son was some kind of emotional blackmail. Then came the shift. Money. It always came back to that. They started trying to access things, small at first. My dad emailed asking if I could help figure out why a recurring payment wasn't going through. Lily claimed she was trying to get access to some tax documents and needed to verify an old shared folder I'd once set up for Mom. I didn't answer. I flagged it all. Then something worse happened. Mason came to me holding my old phone. The one he uses to play games. It was connected to my cloud account. He said Grandma had called him. Twice. They called my 7-year-old. I asked him what she said. He said she just asked how I was doing. If I was still mad. If he missed her. I wanted to scream. But I didn't. I just took the phone, wiped it, and changed everything. I didn't even tell my husband right away. There didn't seem to be a point. Because by now it was becoming clearer every day he wasn't going to step in. Not really. He hated confrontation. Hated the drama. When I told him what they said, what they did, he always played it down. Said they probably meant well, that I shouldn't let it get to me, that family stuff is always messy. I kept waiting for him to say, they hurt you. I'll make sure it never happens again. He never did. But Drew stayed in touch. Quietly. He didn't bombard me, didn't ask for updates. Just checked in. Sent Mason a little drone in the mail that they played with over video chat. Meanwhile, my parents kept pushing. Until one day, out of nowhere, I got a notification. $1,000 missing from an old account I'd forgotten was still linked to a card. Not my main account. One I'd created a long time ago for family transactions. It had been empty for months. Or so I thought. Turns out, when I moved some money around, a deposit hit that card by accident. And somehow they got access. I didn't have proof it was them. But I didn't need it. Only one other person had ever had the login. Maybe. I asked him again gently this time if he'd spoken to Grandma. He nodded. Said she told him she just needed to check something for a second. She told him not to say anything. I stared at him for a long time. Then I told him to go upstairs. And I sat down and realized this was the last straw. Not because of the $1,000, but because they were willing to manipulate a child to get to me. They hadn't just crossed a line. They'd erased it. I didn't ask for the money back. I didn't make a scene. I didn't call the police or write a Facebook post or try to shame them publicly. I just made sure there was nothing left for them to take. Every account closed. Every login changed. Every backup reset. I pulled the rest of my support from under them, quietly without warning. And I didn't look back. It stayed quiet just long enough for me to think maybe it was over. No calls. No emails. No fake apologies wrapped in manipulation. Lily went dark on social media. My mom hadn't attempted any more accidental calls to Mason. It felt suspicious, but I let myself enjoy the silence. Then the letter came. Handwritten. No return address, just my name printed across the front in block letters like a threat pretending to be formal. My stomach turned before I even opened it. It was my mom. Of course. She called it a peace letter, which told me everything I needed to know. Pages of rationalizing. Pages. How hard retirement had been on Dad. How Lily was grieving a breakup and acting out of pain. How they all had to deal with my distance and emotional cutoffs, as if I disowned them for forgetting to bring a casserole to Thanksgiving instead of stealing from me and manipulating my child. She didn't apologize. Not once. She said families share things. That money had never been a real issue between us before. That maybe I was reacting so strongly because I still hadn't processed childhood stuff. It was almost laughable. But then I got to the last page and my jaw locked. Folded inside the letter there was a yellow post-it. On it 2 words. Drew. Just that. I stared at it for a long time like it might unfold into something that made sense. When I texted him, just those 2 words, he replied within 60 seconds. I figured she might do that. Call me. I did. I needed to hear it. He sighed the second he answered and said, okay, here it is. Turns out 3 months before any of this exploded, before Mason's birthday, before the 1 cent, before I blocked them, Lily and Mom called Drew. They said I was spinning out again. That I was being unreasonable and making threats about money. They asked him to step in. But not as family. As a favor. They offered to pay him. To talk me down. To talk me out of my boundaries. It wasn't a huge amount, but it was enough to make the offer gross. It was enough to prove they'd never seen me as anything other than a resource, even to each other. Drew told them no. Actually told them off. Said I was the only one who had consistently kept the family from falling apart, and if they lost me, that was on them. That's when they stopped talking to him. They froze him out just like they always do when someone doesn't play along. He didn't tell me at the time because he didn't want to push me further into the storm. But when he showed up that day unannounced, that was why. He'd been watching the collapse. Waiting to see what I'd do. And when I finally did it, when I sent the 1 cent, he said it was like watching the power finally shift. I didn't know what to say. Thanked him. Not because he saved me, but because he didn't sell me out. That bar is on the floor, I know, but in this family even that was rare. We got off the phone and I sat there with the post-it in one hand and my phone in the other, realizing that my mother, my own mother, knew I'd find out. That's why she wrote it. That's why she put it in the letter. It wasn't an apology. It was a warning. She was telling me, you don't know everything and I'm not done yet. And she wasn't. 3 days later, I got an alert from an account I hadn't thought about in years. A joint savings account I'd opened with Lily back when she begged me to help her rebuild her credit. I thought I'd taken my name off it. I hadn't. It was overdraft. By $743. The charge. A wellness escape weekend, at a boutique resort 3 hours outside the city. Spa treatments, organic meals, and healing workshops. I laughed when I saw it. Actually laughed. It wasn't even about the money anymore. It was the audacity. The pure, unbothered entitlement of it. He forgot I was still on the account. So I did something I knew she wouldn't expect. I covered the overdraft. To the cent. Then I transferred 1 extra penny. And closed the account. No warning. No message. No announcement. Just a final door quietly, firmly shut. After I closed the joint account with Lily, the silence came back. But this time it felt different. Not like they were regrouping. Not like they were plotting. Felt like they finally got the message. Or so I thought. That weekend my husband's parents came over for dinner. They'd always been kind to me, never overstepped, always treated Mason like their own. Halfway through dinner, his mom leaned across the table too casually and said, "We heard from your mom. She said she's been trying to apologize." I froze. I hadn't spoken about any of this to them. Not in detail. I kept it surface level, family tension, taking some space, that kind of thing. But apparently my mother had filled in the blanks for them. I asked what she'd said. They looked at each other, hesitant. Then his dad admitted she'd emailed them, told them I was struggling and blowing things out of proportion, and that she was afraid for Mason because I was shutting out the only family he has. That was the moment it clicked. They weren't done. They just changed targets. I realized they'd started working around me, getting to people close to me, controlling the narrative, painting themselves as victims of my emotional instability. I felt sick. I spent days spiraling about it. I kept imagining all the conversations happening without me, the versions of me they were describing to other people. How easily that narrative spread when I wasn't there to defend myself. And then, as if fate was mocking me, I got a call from Mason's school. The office secretary said his emergency contact had come to pick him up. Only I hadn't listed anyone but my husband. I dropped everything and drove there, heart racing. By the time I got to the school, Mason was sitting in the front office reading a book, completely calm. And sitting beside him, pretending to be just as calm, was Lily. She had printed out an old emergency contact form from years ago, where I had stupidly once listed her as a backup. I hadn't updated it since. She said she was just trying to help. Claimed she was in the area, and thought maybe I was stuck in traffic or something. I walked straight past her, took Mason's hand, and told the school there had been a mistake. They looked uneasy, like they knew something weird was going on but didn't want to get involved. Lily followed me out to the parking lot. She said I was making things worse, that I was poisoning Mason against his own family, that I should get over the past because it's not like anyone actually meant to hurt you. I didn't answer. I buckled Mason into the car and drove away. Later that night, I updated every contact form, changed every backup number, set up two-step verification on everything, and then I blocked her again, this time permanently. The next day I got an email from Drew. It was short, just 2 lines. I heard what happened. I'm not just on your side anymore. I'm done with them too. And that's when it finally shifted. Not just the dynamic, but me. Because now I understood something that I hadn't been ready to see before. They weren't trying to get back in. They were trying to get around me. And if I didn't close every window they could crawl through, they'd just keep breaking in wherever they found a crack. So I stopped leaving cracks. And they stopped knocking. For now. It ended with 1 cent. Not a scream, not a final confrontation, not even a door slammed shut. Just a quiet transaction. A whisper through the system they used for years to pull and take and ask without ever looking back. They were looking now. Things had gone still after the incident at Mason's school. I updated every login, flagged every platform. I even reached out to the school to make sure no one outside my list could ever contact him again. They were horrified, embarrassed. One administrator offered a formal apology. My husband said it was an overreaction. Told me I shouldn't go scorched earth over 1 call. It was never just 1 call. It was the pattern. They didn't stop because they learned. They stopped because I shut every door they had. And then, in a move that almost felt like parody, they went through my child. A week later, I caught Mason using my laptop on the couch. He was on a call, low volume, screen tilted, but I didn't need to see much. It was my mother's voice. I walked over calmly, closed the screen, and took a deep breath. No yelling. No scene. I asked him how it happened. He told me she'd sent him a message through one of his classroom sites. Said she missed him. Said she wanted to talk without the drama. Said I'd be so surprised and so happy if she could just say hi. She used the phrase grown-up misunderstanding. I smiled, nodded, told Mason it wasn't his fault. Told him he wasn't in trouble. Then I deleted every browser account, reset the device, and reached out to his teacher and the district. No more cracks. That night I opened the last open account. One I hadn't thought about in months. Tied to an old savings card I'd given Mom back when she was organizing family bills. I drained it a while ago, or so I thought. But somehow there was $1,003 sitting in it. Probably from a refund I'd forgotten or a delayed deposit. I don't even remember. But what mattered was this. She knew that account still existed. And recently Mason had asked me if we could help Grandma a little, because she said it would mean a lot. So I knew. They'd coached him again. Fed him another line. Used his voice like a crowbar, trying to pry the door back open. I didn't cry. I didn't even get angry. I just transferred the money out. Every last dollar. Except 1 cent. Then I sent that penny to her personal account. Just 1 cent. The note. This is my gift. Then I closed the account for good. 12 hours later, she tried to access it. I know because my email was flooded with security alerts. Password reset requests. Suspicious login warnings. 3 attempts in a row, all blocked. That night, for the first time since I was 21, I turned off my phone and went to bed without wondering what fire they'd try to set next. And they haven't tried since. They know. The money's gone. The access is gone. I'm gone. Not in a dramatic way. Not in some epic walkout. Just absent. I don't talk to Drew often anymore. We check in once in a while. It's neutral, like two people who both escaped the same building but took different exits. I trust him now in a quiet kind of way, but I don't depend on him. And he doesn't ask me to. My husband still doesn't get it. He thinks I overreacted. He thinks I should forgive them eventually. He doesn't say it out loud, not anymore, but I can feel it when he looks at Mason's unopened birthday cards. We don't talk about it, but I'm watching. Because when the people who hurt you start targeting your child, and the person sleeping beside you calls it a misunderstanding, you learn to be very careful about who you trust. So now it's just me and Mason. And Mason doesn't ask about them anymore. Not because I told him not to, because he remembers. And when they tried calling again, this time from a new number, he blocked them himself. He looked at me and said, "They're not allowed back in, right?" And I said, "That's right." Because the final cut wasn't about them. It was about making sure no one ever teaches my son that love is something you have to survive.